Hey guys, this is Jeff here from the Gramforacause team, and in today's video I'm going to be going over a couple ways how you can literally edit photos on Lightroom or any other editing app that you use, such as Visco or Snapseed, which is Google's app to edit, which is really popular amongst Instagrammers that I know. So if you're looking for a weekend adventure, I would suggest that you pack your outdoor gear, because this video is focused on National Public Lands Day, and because of the NPS, which is the National Park Service, they're going to be waiving entrance fees for all sites today. And one of the last days they're going to be also doing it, if you're catching this video on the tail end of October or November, is going to be November 11th to the 12th. So there's going to be more of a description on what NPS does in the description box, so you can head down there and just check it out. But going on to today's video, I'm going to show you some simple tips of how to specifically edit really basic photos. Alright, so let's do this. One of the first things that I do to edit a photo is I always I take this little tool here for the temperature, not the temperature, the white balance, and I always search for a gray spot or near white, and I always look for a spot that gives the photo more of an interesting feel to it. So you can see over here, this one, you can see in this area what it does for you. This one gives it a more of a purplish kind of vibe. This one over here gives it a more misty, moody feel. I actually like that. Now this is all subjective. There's no one way to edit a photo, so I mean, if you always edit a photo one way, go ahead, but maybe you catch something on this video that you didn't know before. So yeah, actually let's go with this, and you see that actually it's a dramatic difference. You can see if I reset it, it has this blue tint to it. So again, we're gonna go over here, select it, select this one. Yeah, has a little purple in the skies as well. One of the first things as well that I do after I select the white balance is I go down to highlights and shadows and see if I can decrease it a little bit. I don't usually like the highlights too overblown like this. And for this photo, I'm going to leave it, actually just leave it, maybe just put -7 or something like that. But for the shadows, I want to increase them a little bit. See why I'm doing that? Just because we don't want it too dark. And let's say 58, that should be good. For the whites, if you don't know what whites and blacks are, you can just see what are the effects if you just go like this. It's what I used to do when I first was beginning in Lightroom. But for the whites in this photo, I'm going to actually just leave it as it is right now. You can see the whites really affect the sky, of course. Or actually we can increase it a little bit. You'll see why I'm doing that. You'll see why I'm doing that soon. For the blacks, I want to actually, even though for the shadows over here I increased them, I should say, I'm going to decrease the blacks just a little bit here to get the more of the contrast that we lost when we were playing with the shadows. For clarity, I usually like to bump it up just a little bit. Vibrance, which is different from saturation, is I guess the luminance of color. You can see that's what it really does. You can see it's really alive when you put it to a very a very high vibrance. Actually, I actually like that. See, it's just normal. This is the photo that we're getting, but to really draw in the eye into what you can see in nature, that actually looks pretty good. For the saturation, I don't think I'm going to touch it, just because it's oversaturating an image such as this. It's too much for the eyes. I find just enough. Maybe just 1. You don't really need to play with it, but to play with the tone curve, what I usually do is make an S. You'll see here that I put a point here, and a point here. What I usually do first is crush the blacks, which is taking this last curve over here and bringing it up to make it more moody. not too much, because I want this photo to have more of like a realistic feel to it, not that it's too much edited, obviously. And then what I usually do is just kind of like decrease the whites. Now there's not a lot in this photo obviously, but kind of just trying to bring out more of the details in the mountains. I'm kind of fine. Let's see what this does. Sometimes you just don't know what things do, so you just kind of have to test it out. And if you don't know, you can always undo. Alright, so going on to the luminance and the hue, the saturation. These are tools pretty much that, you know, not a lot of people use. You don't have to. I kind of just play around with it just to see what it would do. This one, you can see it's just like increasing that little, the green over there. I'll put in an increase 1. Saturation, let's play with this a little bit more. You can also use these points as well if you want to increase the saturation on a specific, not a specific object, but see what specifically is being controlled. So over here, this blue is over here, not the aqua. I want to increase that just a little bit. And I actually like how this is turning out. You can see it's very vibrant. It's like a scene that you want to kind of just, it's like a peaceful scene. You almost can imagine like the sun is rising over here or something, and birds can be chirping in the background. And one of the last things that I do is maybe I'll add a tint of sharpening just for the trees. And I always use noise reduction, not much. And sometimes I add a vignette, but not for this one, or any grains. I'm trying to see what else I can do for this specific photo. As you can see, this is pretty quick. All I did really was, you know, adjust the shadows, the whites, the blacks, select a what I can't even remember the word. Select the white balance, sorry, and then just played with the vibrance, which really brought out this photo specifically. And then the clarity. Clarity is described as, how would I describe clarity? It's more like, if I put the clarity all the way down, it gives it kind of like a dreamy kind of feeling. Clarity, when you put it up, it kind of gives it more of the lines are like very super sharp. It's hard to kind of describe. Just if you can obviously see what I'm doing, but for nature photos specifically, you always want the clarity, unless you're kind of aiming for something different, clarity should always come up just to give it more detail and pop. So that's how we're gonna edit this first photo. I actually like how it turned out. Nothing too extreme. I actually want these boats to be a little bit more brighter as well, so we can specifically see if we can adjust the saturation on those by using this tool over here. Saturation is set to 25, maybe let's increase it to like 30. 28 should be actually fine. Then we use this little tool here, see what we can do. Now you can see I'm kind of going over it, it's not really changing much. That's fine because you can always increase it over here. And you can see, if I increase it a lot, you'll see, you know, that it actually changes, but this is actually fine. I actually like this. So that's one way how to edit a nature photo. So as you can see, because I don't want to make this video too long, this is a before and after of what we were working with, and this is the after. See, so as you can see, with minor changes, it just becomes this dramatic kind of feeling. This one's more vibrant. You could see the mountains as if it's like a sunrise. And you couldn't see, you know, obviously much detail. Sorry, excuse me, in the trees. But right after, you can see just the vibrance and the detail here. If we kind of just zoom in as well, so that's pretty good. So guys, I want to thank you for viewing this video. If you are a photographer or just an Instagrammer looking for an opportunity to work with nonprofits, we do have our link below, and you can sign up and actually fill out an application to see and partner with nonprofits to see if we can work with you in future projects as well. And if you're a nonprofit as well and looking for an opportunity to have your visual story told by, you know, photographers who actually care about what you're doing, then we'd also suggest that you visit our website below. All right, so peace out, guys.